To unpack this a bit more further for us, we're now joined by Robert Andrews from the Western Cape Food Sovereignty Stream Leader from the Trust for Community Outreach and Education. And he joins us for a conversation on farmers in the Western Cape who are severely affected by the storms. Robert, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Of course, we've seen some farmers there, very emotional when they talk about what they have lost in the floods. Just give us a picture of, how this has actually affected many farmers and, also pointing to small-scale farmers in the Western Cape.
I think to give an accurate picture at this point in time is really difficult. With the type of infrastructure damage that has happened, there's also been loss of cell phone signal. So contact is really intermittent and sporadic in these areas. People without vehicles have real difficulty getting food. And there's been lots of difficulty. I mean, if we look at Genadendal, for instance, there's a large community in Genadendal that we service of emerging and small-scale farmers. And the level of devastation is almost irreparable for a small-scale farmer. We saw the Minister of Agriculture speak about a loss of 1.4 billion rand. Yeah. But that, I guess, is more accurate for commercial farmers. If you look at the small-scale farmers, where some of the main aim is, I guess, food security, security of livelihoods, that's been lost, and we won't be able to sort of get an accurate depiction right now. I mean, one of the small-scale farmers, if I look at just Genadendal in general, has lost probably upwards of, just as a small rand value in a 3-day little exercise that we are busy with, close to 500,000. Just on one farm in terms of machinery, infrastructure, animals, and this will affect their work going forward, whether they can provide sustainable jobs to their workers. It's really difficult.
And one would even ask that most emerging and small-scale farmers, when you speak about insurance, this is something that they actually can't even afford. So who do they rely on at the moment if, one would say that many of them find themselves stranded?
No, definitely. It is, some of the institutional things that we are trying to shift on our sort of we have a budget line for development of small-scale farmers, which we are trying to speak to our funders and push it into relief, so that farmers can land on their feet, have work, have jobs, and have a solid platform to work from.
And when you look at the farming community that's been affected in the Western Cape, what would you say are their immediate pressures? And of course, they need some sort of intervention there so that they can get by.
There are definite interventions which need to happen on many different levels. We heard the gift of the givers speak about food and blankets and all of those things, but you were speaking about insurance, and I met with one of the small-scale farmers today, and it's the issue of it's. I think it's sometimes devastating if you're putting your time and your effort into a passion project to provide for your family and your community, and all of it gets washed away. And then begs the question: who do you turn to? And it's also the timing of the assistance that's really important. Whether you are able to provide assistance immediately and for the long term, or are we just trying to put a Band-Aid on a situation?
What would you say? I know that we've seen in that clip that Gift of the Givers has intervened. When it comes to the help which has been afforded to some of these farmers, what would you say so far has been the help that they need and has been actually given to these farmers so that they can go back and start picking up the pieces and, you know, they are able to operate their businesses?
Just in with the one farmer that I met today, we had quite a lengthy discussion. After the rains had stopped, I mean, we've experienced a sort of a subsiding of the water in most areas in the greater Cape Town area. But today was the first time that they were even able to go onto farm. They weren't able to access farm through vehicles. Workers or farm workers had to walk into the farm, which is already a lengthy exercise. Pardon me. And today was more of a stock taking of what's gone, what's been washed away.
Yeah.
We really need to look at systems where we support our small scale farmers in the same way that we support commercial farmers, so that they have, once everything is up and running, we need to provide access to markets, secure livelihoods, all of those things.
And from your observation, you know, would you say that most of these farmers will be able to recover? That's the $1 million question. Yeah.
I think with lots of support and holistic processes that are not just quick fixes, I'm sure we can get small scale farmers on their feet and roaring. I think some of the action that needs to be taken by governments and municipalities is to push for small localized economies, have it run by locals, for locals, and that's one of the ways that we can start these businesses and have them flourish.
And what would you say when it comes to the job losses? Surely this will also then lead to job losses in a country like ours where we have such a high unemployment rate.
That's really difficult. That's some of the support that we're looking at providing, keeping people in gainful employment. It's really difficult to say what some of the answers are. Yeah. I feel like some of the questions are so multifaceted that it's to take a stab at it is a really difficult thing to answer.
All right, then, Robert, thank you so much for your time there and for that insight into the flooding that has, damaged many parts of the Western Cape. That is Robert Andrews, a Western Cape Food Sovereignty Stream Leader from the Trust for Community Outreach.